When you hear the name Bella Hadid, you probably picture runways, fashion week, magazine covers, perfection. She's been called the most beautiful woman in the world. Her face is mathematically symmetrical, her look, iconic, and her walk, pure power. But underneath that flawless surface was a girl barely holding it together. Because Bella Hadid wasn't living in a dream. She was surviving a nightmare. Her life didn't begin in struggle. On the outside, it looked golden. She was born into fame. Her mother, Yolanda Hadid, was a former model and a star on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her sister, Gigi, was quickly becoming a global fashion icon. But Bella never felt like she belonged in that spotlight. As a child, she wasn't chasing fame. She was chasing horses. Her dream was to compete in the Olympics as an equestrian. She trained every single day, focused, disciplined, determined, until one day her body said no. When she was just 14, Bella was diagnosed with Lyme disease. It's an invisible illness, one that hides behind a smile. Most people don't understand how brutal it is, but Bella did. She lived it. Fatigue that made getting out of bed feel impossible. Brain fog that made remembering simple things feel like solving a puzzle. Joint pain that made walking, let alone modeling, a constant battle. And on top of that, anxiety, depression, and a world that demanded her to look perfect, no matter what. But she didn't stop. She couldn't, because everyone was watching, and they expected beauty. So Bella became what the world wanted: tall, thin, unshakable, powerful. But what they didn't see were the IV drips before fashion shows, the panic attacks in hotel rooms, the nights she cried in silence because she didn't want to be seen as weak. She once said, "Behind every photo of me, there's a full story that no one knows." And it's true. In the pictures, she's untouchable. But in real life, Bella has been touched by more pain than most people ever realize. She's talked openly about waking up every day for years feeling depressed, anxious, and physically ill. She went to doctors, specialists, therapists, looking for answers, looking for relief, and yet she kept working. Because in fashion, if you don't show up, someone else takes your place. So she showed up, over and over again, even when her body was screaming at her to stop. She became the face of Dior, walked every major runway in the world, built a name that stood next to legends, all while quietly breaking inside. In 2021, something shifted. Bella started posting less polished photos, pictures of her crying, videos of her on bad days, moments that weren't edited or filtered. She wasn't trying to get sympathy, she was trying to be seen. For real. She wrote, "This is pretty much my everyday, every night for a few years now. Social media is not real. For anyone struggling, please remember that." It hit people hard because it was raw, vulnerable, brave, and it made people realize she's not just a face, she's a fighter. In 2023, Bella did something even more radical. She disappeared. For months, no red carpets, no runway, no selfies. No glam. Why? Because her health demanded it. Her Lyme disease had flared up again, worse than before. She started getting intense treatments, bone pain, exhaustion, emotional breakdowns. For the first time in years, she put herself first. And it wasn't easy. She admitted she feared the industry would move on without her, that people would forget, that stepping back meant falling off. But she did it anyway. She posted her medical records, her hospital visits, her IV treatments, her face without makeup, swollen and tired. It was the opposite of what celebrities usually show. And that's what made it so powerful. Because Bella was finally saying, "I'm not okay, and that's okay." She wasn't trying to be inspirational. She wasn't selling a miracle cure. She was just telling the truth. That being beautiful doesn't mean you're happy. That being famous doesn't mean you're free from suffering. That sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending. And that resonated with millions, because behind every person watching her was someone hiding their own pain too. She once said, "I love what I do, but I've had to learn how to protect myself in it." And that sentence says everything. Bella isn't trying to escape fame, she's trying to survive it. On her terms, she's still young, still building, still healing. She's not perfect, and she's done trying to be. Instead, she's choosing something much harder: honesty. And that honesty is what makes her beautiful. Not the bone structure, not the red carpet gowns, not the titles or covers, but the fact that even when the world expected her to smile through the pain, she finally looked back and said, "No, this is who I really am." And that's a kind of beauty the world rarely sees. For Bella, healing wasn't just physical, it was emotional, spiritual. She had to rebuild her sense of self from the inside out. Because when the world only values you for how you look, you start to wonder if there's anything left underneath that. She's admitted she spent years not recognizing herself in the mirror, questioning her worth, feeling like she had to be this flawless version of a person just to be loved, just to be accepted. But she's done hiding behind that version now. In 2023, Bella began talking about how she's finally learning to love herself without makeup, without the designer clothes, without the lights and cameras. She even said, "For the first time in a long time, I'm actually proud of myself." And that's not something you hear often in this industry, not from models, not from women taught to be humble, quiet, and beautiful for everyone else's approval. Bella's pride isn't about ego, it's about survival, because she's made it through things most people don't even talk about. The silent pain, the invisible illness, the pressure to be perfect. And now, she's using her platform not just to model clothes, but to model honesty, vulnerability, humanity. In the end, Bella Hadid isn't just a model. She's a symbol of how the world's idea of beauty is broken, and how real beauty is showing up as you are, even when it's messy, even when it hurts, even when you're still healing. Because Bella Hadid may look perfect, but it's her imperfections, the ones she finally let the world see, that make her unforgettable.